Hi everybody, it's Sally from Sally Stampers. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm bringing you a daisy box card. I know there's lots of them out there and there's lots of daisy projects as well, but I couldn't resist making one myself, and as I say, it is a box card, so it does fold flat for you to send in the post, which is always handy. But isn't it just cute? And I think that would look lovely sat on somebody's mantelpiece or windowsill or bedside table. And obviously you can change the sentiment to happy birthday, congratulations or anything. But I just think that it's a bunch of flowers that people can keep forever. And I think it's great. So I'm going to show you how I made this one. So you need a piece of cardstock that measures, and I've written it down somewhere, 5 inches by a full A4 sheet. So yeah, so that is, 5 inches by 11 3/4 inches. You then need to grab your scoring board and your scoring tool, and you need to score on the long side at 4 inches, 5.5 inches, 9.5 inches and 11. Rotate and score at 3. And then get your bone folder and fold and burnish all of your score lines. And obviously, because of it being the beautiful daisy that I'm using, I'm going to have to use the, and I hope I'm getting this right, Delightful Daisy DSP. I always end up getting that wrong. Right. So this is what yours will look like. So you have a slightly wider piece here and then a slightly smaller. You need to be cutting the smaller. Now, when I made mine, all I left was the back piece. I cut away the others. Now, it's entirely up to you. I will show you, cut away this small corner. I will show you what it will look like if you leave the flaps, because you can do either. So you just simply cut down all of them down to that horizontal crease line. Or fold line, should I say. Now obviously when you adhere, that will be the back, and so, whoops, these will be folded down this way. So I'm just going to tip it over and reinforce these folds this way. And then that's how yours will look. So if you don't cut them away, you do have these flaps, which you can add messages to if you wish, but I think the flowers do it enough, and I don't think you need to have these. So I simply cut mine off just as straight as I can all the way along the score line. You may be better if you have them with big scissors. I know that Stampin' Up don't have them anymore, but if you've got some you could use those. Now I kept the back part here simply because if you want to add any sort of message or anything like that, you could add a piece of Whisper White on here, stick it on, and that will be you'll be able to write on it then. But as I say, obviously I have just left mine. So we need to add our panels, and as you can see, again, I've only added one to either side and the front. So as I say, I've used the coordinating DSP, and I'm hoping it's called Delightful Daisy. I'm still trying to learn the names, it's ridiculous. So the piece for the front here needs to be 3 3/4 inch by 2 3/4 inch. Just be mindful if you have a pattern, which way you want your pattern to go and which way you cut it, because obviously that will affect. And then your two side pieces here, which as I say you need two of, are 1 1/4 by 2 3/4. And again, if you have a pattern, just make sure you've cut it so that the patterns go in the same way that you want it to. Then grab some fuse and make the box. So there you have your box card. But obviously we can't just stop there because we need something to adhere our flowers to, and if I turn it upside down you can see that there's a couple of like shelves in there. So to make those you need 2 strips of cardstock that are 5 inches by 1, and then I'm simply going to score at 1/2 inch on both ends. And I'm just using my trimmer here because it's just as easy than getting the scoring board back out and doing that. The trimmer's just as easy. Whoops, don't know why that's got stuck there. And then obviously you fold and burnish. And then again I've used my fuse to just add some to the ends there. And the first one I put in, if you watched my previous video on my enamel shape holder, I fold this one in and actually adhere it to my finger just temporarily, and then when I put this one in I put it level with the top and level with the back. Likewise with this one. So level with the top and level with the back. I hope that makes sense, and I hope you can see what I mean there. And the next one you can either put level with that back one, or you can do it level with just put it in wherever you want it. I'm going to put it level with that back one, and then it just gives you that equal distance between those two back ones. And then I did find that if you pop your fingers inside you can just give them a little press to make sure they've adhered. And there are your two shelves, as I call them. So now you need to add your flowers. So I've made up my white daisies ahead of time because I knew it would take forever otherwise, and I've just left my stamped ones to do with you. So there's just 3 of them there. So I need to grab my D block and my daisy, and I have cheated ahead of time as well, and I have already done the centerpieces which have stamped with this one, and that is Daffodil Delight on Daffodil Delight. Now for my flowers I'm actually going to use saffron. So I've got a bit of paper here which is a bit of scrap that I've used, and I've also got a bit more because I need 6 flowers. So there's 2. And you will notice as well that when I stamp my flower I try and put it as close to a clock face on the edge as I can, and by that I mean 12 and 6, because when you come to punch, I've lost count now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there we go. Oops, sorry, head against the tripod again. When you come to use your daisy punch, it's lined up at 12 and 6, and so it's easier. If you've not punched it straight, it's harder to punch out, and then you just simply line it up and punch them out. Now one little thing that I did find, and I'm hoping this doesn't happen while I'm doing my video, is that sometimes when you come to remove your paper, your card after you've punched, it all gets trapped, and it is a nuisance. For some reason those bits all seem to fold up, and I'm afraid you just have to fiddle about until you've got it out. And like I said, I'm just praying. We've gone so far now without it doing it, so I'm hoping it won't do it for us today. And the last one, I'm just lining it up. There we go. Oh, that's almost did it then, almost. Okay, so here are my beautiful daisies now, all stamped and punched, and I'm just going to grab some glue dots, and I'm going to add a glue dot to the centre of 3 of them. And then the ones that don't have glue dots on, I just sit on the top. Obviously placing the daisies, let's see, not 12 and 6, just so that they fill in the gaps. And then obviously I've got my centres that I've stamped here, and they go, surprisingly, on the centre. Now I have to confess that when I first saw the daisy paper I wasn't very keen on it, but the more I got to play and use, as usual, yes, I had to buy it, like everything. So there are my flowers all made up. Now some of mine, you'll notice, have got a bit of dimension to them. Just use your bone folder, and you either just use your thumb and the edge of the bone folder, and you either can go round and curl them this way so that it sits up, tip them over and fold them this way so they curl upright. My favourite one is to use my thumbnail, and I just simply fold them that way, which gives a different effect to that. And some I just leave because I like them flat. And I'll just give this one some dimension too. And I'm going to leave that one flat. Now I did just use some strips of card here just to stick them in place. And I'm just going to pop this one down so that I can show you how I stuck them in. So I have a white one at the front, so I'm going to use a short stick here, and these are just little scraps of cardstock that I've used so for example this strip here, there's nothing much you can do with that, so I've just used that to stick them on. And then I've just got glue dots, whoops, if I can pick these up, and I just put a glue dot on each end, stick it on the back of your flower, and then just simply stick it, whoops, in place in your box. And then you just go along placing all of them wherever you want them to go. So I'll have a yellow one this time, and I'm just going to stick that one in the front. And then we have 2 white ones, so let's go for that one. So we just need some scrap again, which we've stuck glue dots on, pop it on the back, and then you really just need to make sure that when you place them that they're filling in gaps, but also slightly higher than the ones in front. So obviously you'll need different lengths of card here for each one. So just add one more to that one, and we'll just use a plain white one here. And again, this one I'm going to put at a slight angle hanging off the side, and then the last ones just go at the back there. So obviously you're going to need a little bit of a longer piece of card. And that one I shall stick there. And then the white one will go in there. And the reason I've done so many is simply because when you come to stick them, you need to just really fill in the gap. Now this one, I put my glue dot on the top there, but I actually put it on the back of this one because this one I'm just going to stick onto the back. And I have a spare one there that I don't actually need. So you can just fill them in. And then all you need to do is decorate them. So I'm using the beautiful Daffodil Delight double stitched ribbon. So you just need a length of that to wrap around. And you can either do a bow if you wish, or as I have done, show you my scissors, I used a little bit of tear and tape just to hold it in place. So just a couple of pieces here. So I'm going to add that first bit there, just to hold the edge of the ribbon, and then the other piece on top, which obviously holds the other end. If I can get the backing off. There we go. Just make sure that it is fairly taut as you wrap it round. And then there it is. And you can add any sentiment that you like. You could even add another daisy if you wanted to. In fact, I quite like that one. I'm going to just add a daisy to this one. And then you can put whatever sentiment you want onto the back. And there you have it. A daisy box card, perfect for any occasion, and a bunch of flowers for somebody to keep. Don't forget, all the information that you need is in my blog, and all the products I've used are available in the shop, and the link for that is below. Have a great day, guys. See you soon. Bye.